Hi, my love. So I am about to join a call with someone who is nearing towards the end of her 6 weeks to inner peace journey with emotional health school. And she has really stepped into a new version of herself. And I am so happy for this client because when she came to me, she was experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of work stress, burnout, and it was impacting her sleep, it was impacting her diet. And of course, there was a lot of worries about the future. So we've worked together to go really deep on her healing journey, to teach her the tools as to how to navigate her emotions for the rest of her life. So if you have experienced any of these feelings and you want to hear more about a solution, about a way out, about learning the tools to help you navigate these feelings for life, then this is definitely for you and worth a watch. So I'll look forward to welcoming her on the other side. Cool. So if I could just start by, of course, I know, but start by asking you, what is your name and where do you live?
So my name's Sarah, and I live on the outskirts of London.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Sarah. And I would love it if we could just circle back to when we first had our sort of like first ever conversation.
Mm.
And if you were able to share maybe with me some of the challenges that you were facing at the time.
So actually, it'd been going on for quite a while prior to when we first got in contact.
Yeah.
So I was experiencing quite a lot of work related stress that
Mhm.
was sort of folding into like, leading to anxiety in the workplace.
Mhm.
I was very anxious around people. I didn't really want confrontation. And within my role, I just felt that I wasn't really empowered in my role.
Mm.
I felt like I was always aware of other people's feelings, and I
Mm.
would try and change the way that I was feeling or the way that I was um, reacting or behaving because
Mm.
I knew how other people would react.
Mm.
Um, and it got to the point where I was, you know, living work, sleeping work, eating work. That it was just endless.
Mhm.
To the point where I was numb. I
Mm.
didn't know how to feel.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it was just yeah, I've never felt like that in my life before.
Mhm.
And I've been in my profession for quite a long time.
Mhm.
Worked really hard. I'm a really hard worker.
Yeah.
I always believe that it's right, for who what I'm working what my in my job. It's really important that it's about looking after other people.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and it was just I think it upset me as well. Like I
Mm.
knew what I wanted, and I wasn't getting it, and I was going round and round and round and round in circles, and I couldn't find like emotionally, I was just worn out. Um,
Yeah.
I was burnt out. I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
I was sleeping to what 5 6 hours a night. I was running on
Mhm.
empty.
Mm.
Wasn't eating properly.
Mm.
I really wasn't looking after myself. My skin was awful. It was breaking out all the time.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it was and I think prior to us speaking, that had been going on for like, but I don't know how long it'd been going on for,
Mhm.
probably years. But it got particularly worse like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
and it was over the summer. I think it was it in August, that mid August, I think.
Yeah.
When you first made contact, I don't even remember how we got in contact or how you decided that it was great to just get to
Mhm.
reach out on Instagram.
Mhm.
I think I must have just been like I've just been scrolling, and what do they
Doom
call it? Doom
scrolling.
scrolling. I was doom scrolling every night. It
Yeah.
was like I wasn't even paying attention. I was like just looking through memes, all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
I must have actually, I reckon it's probably I've been looking at like things to do with anxiety, stress, overthinking, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And because Instagram's what Instagram is, I think
Mhm.
I must have just stumbled across your profile. I must
Mhm.
have liked something, and then you got in touch.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time you got in touch, I saw the message and I went, "I'll reply to that at some point," and I never did.
Yeah.
And then I think it must have been a couple of weeks later. I think you
Mhm.
made contact again, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, okay, we'll see where this goes. And I think part of me, I was like, a little bit dubious because it's the
Mm.
internet
Yeah.
and it's social media.
Yeah.
And no, there's been times where I've got things on social media and I'm like, that's a load of rubbish. Just cancel or don't reply or report them if it's one of those spam accounts. But I knew
Yeah.
it wasn't a spam account because of
Hmm.
all the content. And I was looking at all the content. I was like, yeah, okay, I resonate with that. I really,
Hmm.
really resonate with that. Um, so when you contacted me the second time, I was like, okay, let's have a conversation.
Hmm.
And we had a conversation, and I opened up, and I was quite surprised at how quickly I opened up
Mm.
about
Yeah.
it. I think it was because it wasn't someone that was in the same bubble as me, at the same workplace as me, was
Yeah.
doing the same job as me.
Yeah.
I felt that I could go, do you know what? I think if I open up to you, I think you will truly I would feel that I would be truly understood.
Yeah.
I think part of it is like if you're working with someone and they go, oh, you're okay, and you're like, oh, I'm not okay,
Mm.
they'll sympathize with you because you're there, but
Hmm.
they may not truly understand how you feel.
Yeah. So it's being understood and it's like being heard as well.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you were in a really sticky situation at the time. I guess if we like fast forward to today, only 7 weeks later, and it feels like we've been working together for so
Yeah,
long. How would you say that you feel now?
I feel like, particularly in the last couple of weeks, I've been a lot
Hmm.
more grounded.
Hmm.
I'm very aware of how I'm feeling.
Hmm.
Like previously, I'd be like, "Oh, this person's annoying. Oh, why have they done that?" And you just get frustrated. I was frustrated, really
Yeah.
frustrated, and I think after we had been talking and all that kind of stuff, it turned out that a lot of my feelings, my emotions, were anger.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think now, yeah, I still get angry, but
Yeah.
I can take a step back
Hmm.
so I can feel it. I go, oh, like, I'm really angry, and I know I'm really angry, but
Mm.
I can take a step back and go, right, okay, I'm angry. Let's just deal with that emotion first.
Yeah.
And when I've dealt with that emotion and sort of let go of it, I can
Hmm.
then go, right, my mind's clear now. What can I do about it?
Hmm.
And I think I told you yesterday, I actually had a visit from up high. So like someone from up high in my organization.
Yeah.
And I think it was very interesting what he had to say and the words that he was using. And
Hmm.
I'd never met him before. I've never met him I've seen him around, but I've never met him in this role before.
Hmm.
And he said to me, the one thing I want to do by the end of this day is make you feel empowered in
Mm.
your role. And I just felt it's almost like full circle. So
Yeah.
everything that I had gone through, the
Yeah.
process that I've gone through with you, and there
Hmm.
was someone that I'd never even met before,
Hmm.
spoken to and spent the whole day with him, for him to then say to me, I want you to feel empowered at the end of this. And I was like, do you know what? That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I think it's given me the confidence
Mm.
to
Hmm.
actually point out how I feel, where I want to go with it, and how to
Mm.
deal with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like the whole process. I mean, where I was 6 months ago compared to now,
Hmm.
including this journey that we've taken together,
Yeah.
I feel like I've become a lot wiser,
Yeah.
a lot more aware,
Hmm.
and I feel like I can make a decision when I
Hmm.
want to,
Hmm.
but with time and like thoughts and stuff, thinking about it, but not overthinking it. But then if I
Yeah.
am thinking it, I'll be like, right, break it down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, last week I think I told you I broke down like a whole issue about having a difficult conversation that I
Yeah.
didn't want to have. But then I
Hmm.
broke it down into the emotions, and I was like, right, okay, let's deal with these separately, and
Hmm.
then I'll have a mind free, ready to have that difficult conversation. And then I had a conversation with my boss. Was it yesterday? It's like, frame it in a different way. Don't call it a difficult conversation. Call it an opportunity.
Hmm.
Call it an opportunity to change things,
Yeah.
to change them the way you want them to change, rather than go, I need to have that difficult conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we can recognize all of the different emotions, those
Mm,
emotions are also opportunities, right? To move through them and to let go of them. And
mm.
you did that so well.
Yeah, I've come a
What
very, very long way.
Yeah, yeah, I've come a
Yeah.
really long way. Yeah, yeah, I'm just so happy for you.
Mm,
Like when all those light bulbs just started going on, it
yeah,
was like, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what would you say, like, if you could just say what is the key things that you have learned really from this program?
Um, that yeah, it's okay to feel the feelings that I feel.
Hmm.
Like I can identify them now, but before I was like just feeling it and not
Mm.
being able to put a pin on why I was feeling that way. And I think for me, before the whole program, I was just like I was always looking for a reason for something.
Mm.
Why am I feeling this? Why has that person done that? Why am I in this situation? In fact, when did it start? Always
Mm.
looking for an explanation.
Hmm.
Because I think it's sort of natural, isn't it? And like for me, I'm more scientific. I like to know why things happen.
Yeah,
And when something it doesn't have an explanation, it bothers me.
yeah,
It does bother me.
yeah.
Actually, now I'm just going. I think I've come to the conclusion that actually, do you know what? It's okay. Yeah, I feel that way. Just gotta let it be. Let it
Yeah,
be. Process it.
yeah,
Be done with it.
yeah,
Because it doesn't do me any good.
yeah,
It doesn't make me feel better in myself.
yeah. Yeah, and that's something that we spoke about a lot, wasn't it? Was like
Mm,
the intellectualizing and being in our head and working out how can we come out of our head and into our body and just surrender trying to understand everything because
mm.
that's where the overthinking really comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And like, would you be able to explain a little bit about the process and what are the main things that we've done together to get from that place of sort of feeling anxious and burnt out to feeling balanced?
So I think the first thing was actually providing that safe space for me to actually process
Mm,
the feelings and actually the process of letting go as well. I think we
mm,
built up to that prior
yeah,
to that, awareness of the nervous system and how it's almost like flight or flight, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Being aware of that first,
Hmm.
and I had elements of that through doing yoga,
Yeah.
elements of that, but didn't really focus on it. So I think we
Hmm.
spent about a week really focusing on that,
Yeah.
and then we sort of looked into the process of dealing with the emotions.
Hmm.
And I think for me initially I did find that really difficult,
Yeah.
but I think that's it's just humans and mankind and just instinct kicking
Yeah.
in, and obviously how your brain's all wired up and to react in particular ways.
Hmm.
um so it took persistence.
Yeah.
It took an awful lot of persistence, and
Yeah.
I always felt really. I think I apologized to you so many times about, look, I'm such a pain, and you're like, no, 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 it's fine. I was like,
It's the process.
but I knew it's the process, and I was like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the process. And then I don't even know when it clicked. I think
Hmm.
it just happened, and I didn't even realize. And
Yeah.
then when I realized that I was letting go, I was letting go without even thinking about it. I was like, oh, whoa, that's powerful. That's really
Mm.
powerful. And I think the subconscious healing sessions actually helped a huge amount as well.
Yeah.
Because I think to start with, I found it a little bit strange.
Yeah.
I did find it a bit strange.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
But I was like, do you know what? It's a new experience. We'll go with it. We'll try it.
Yeah.
And I think for the whole process, initially, I was like, we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. And I did go into it. Sometimes, when you dip your foot in the water kind of thing, I did a little bit of that.
Hmm.
And then when I was like, I think it's okay, then I went with it a little bit more and
Hmm.
really got into it. So when we had last week's, I was totally sold.
Yeah.
Totally sold. The first session, it took me a while to get in.
Yeah.
But after that, I was just like, hey, what's going on? And then it was when we had like elements of things coming back, and I was having like weird, it was almost like deja vu. It was
Yeah.
almost like deja vu. And I was like, oh, a minute, I've seen that
Yeah.
in my subconscious. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's
Yeah.
making that link. And it's been with me all
Mm-hmm.
along. And I think there was the realization that it's been with me all along, but I just hadn't realized it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're bringing that subconscious into your conscious.
Yeah.
And like you say, the journey isn't easy. And I always say that to people, like, and having that commitment and like you say, persistence is the number one, like most important thing because you've been stuck in not you, but we've all been stuck in these emotional patterns for life. Like that's
Yeah.
why we get to the place where we need help because they're so deeply ingrained. So to break that and to just trust the process,
Mm.
like that is the only thing you can do to then get that light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say has been your favorite part? Was it the subconscious healing, or what was your favorite part or highlight for you?
I think it's probably the subconscious healing.
Yeah.
It was like, and then when it all sort of unraveled,
Hmm.
everything sort of just, it felt like it was like a puzzle and it all fit
Hmm.
into place. So it was
Yeah.
when it was last week when it all just fit into place. And I was like, whoa. And I think I was so happy.
Mm.
And obviously we talk about, don't jump into, be pulled into it completely and then be disappointed when it all sort of fizzles out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, when it all fell into place and I had that realization, and I
Hmm.
was at work and I was happy. And even today, someone walked past the office today. So, oh, morning. I was like, hi. She goes, oh, you look really happy. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm in my own little space,
Yeah.
Um, so it was really pleasing for people to see that as well,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I think it's society as well, and there's a massive stigma around mental health.
Mm.
But I know people noticed
Yeah.
at work when I wasn't okay.
Mm.
And some people would ask,
Hmm.
and some people would just go, leave her alone.
Hmm.
And I had a conversation with someone at work about this last week.
Mm.
I might have told you last week, but it was
Mm.
almost like it's showing that people care, like
Hmm.
showing people that you care about them,
Mm.
or people showing that they actually genuinely care about you, rather than someone going, "You're all right." No, I'm not all right, but they don't really know how to react.
Hmm.
That kind of makes the situation worse.
Hmm.
It makes you even more frustrated and angry at the situation.
Hmm.
Whereas if someone turned around and said, "Are you all right?" and then, "Oh, do you want to talk about it?" You don't have to, but if you want to talk about it, you can.
Mm.
But I think the whole process has made me more aware of that,
Hmm.
um, and sort of more understanding as
Yeah.
well. And I've started to see people in similar situations,
Hmm.
so I kind of feel empowered by the whole process to say, do you know what? Let's talk about it, and
Hmm.
it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay to sit with those feelings
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's also okay, like I think what we went through together is to not be reliant on people asking if you're okay, but being able to be there for yourself as well.
I
Um,
think it's taught me a lot to look after, like look up. I've learned to look after myself prior to us meeting,
yeah,
but I think it's really cemented it even more.
yeah, yeah.
It's so important just to make time for yourself and to
Mm,
do the things you love,
yeah.
um and also, while at the same time, looking after yourself emotionally as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm. Yeah,
And that's something that I probably wouldn't have even thought about
yeah,
prior to us. Like, if we had never met, I don't think I would be thinking the way I'm thinking right now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Emotional health. I'm so glad that's like
yeah,
on your priority list. Yay.
yeah,
Let's get it on everyone's priority
yeah.
list.
No, but it's important. It's so
Yeah.
important, but people just don't want to, or
Mm,
there's almost an element of shame.
100%.
People, like, it, you want to be seen as someone that is successful, that
Mm,
that is strong. You have that
mm,
bit that everyone has that vision of who they want to look like, who they want to be.
yeah.
And then when it's not like that, like you disappoint yourself, and then you're like, oh, what? like, why? And then you
Yeah.
start looking for reasons, and then you're in that cycle,
Yeah.
and then it never ends.
Yeah. And then you just get stuck in this loop.
Mm.
And actually, like, there's so much strength in vulnerability and so much strength in showing
And actually, I
those.
think it's good to be vulnerable.
Mm, yeah.
As much as people don't want to be seen as vulnerable,
Yeah.
I think it's really important. I think for people at work to see that I was like that, that I
Mm,
was vulnerable, that I was completely shut down. I was minding my own business. I was, getting through the day, face the thunder. Just don't want to deal with it. Didn't want to socialize with people.
mm,
I even put off seeing my friends. I was like, I'm not up for it. I'll go home,
mm.
just sit there, mope.
Yeah. And now you're out there wanting to help other
And now I'm
people.
like, want to help other people, want to
Yeah.
live my life, want to make a
Yeah.
difference. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. I guess my next question is, we spoke about doom scrolling and like seeing all of the different people on Instagram. Of course, the algorithm gods connected us.
yeah.
Was there anything like about my approach that made you want to commit to this program?
I think when you were talking about like healing, so it was obviously we were talking about what help I was getting. So,
Mm,
through the GP,
mm,
doing my yoga, doing my meditation,
mm-hmm.
and that only sort of it's almost like just putting the fire out, but not dealing with what caused it in the first place.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
I think he was saying something about healing from the inside rather than everything else.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I got to the point where I was okay. I think I found that with work, if I was at work, I was like, I'm done with it. At
Yeah.
home, in my own little world, don't really mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I forgot what I was going to say. But I
It
think,
sounded like you were talking about you wanted to heal up from the core,
yeah.
from the inside. Yeah.
And when you said, you know, it was something that I'd never heard of before, and I'm always open to trying things. And I
Yeah.
was like, is this something that's going to work for me?
Mm,
And I was like, do you know what? Let's try it, see where it goes. And I
mm,
had this little voice in my head going, it might not be right for you. It might not work. There's always that doubt.
mm-hmm.
But I kind of said, do you know what? I'll go with it. See what
Mm,
happens. And I think we had that first Zoom meeting where we were just sitting there and we were talking about, I think you were talking about what you could offer.
mm,
And I was still a little bit like, I'm not sure if this is the thing that I want to do, but we'll still go with it.
mm-hmm.
We'll still go with it. We'll give it a go. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I was willing to because it was something that was different. That was
Yeah.
different from the traditional ways of how people would deal with anxiety and stress,
Mm-hmm.
and depression.
Mm,
That's something that I've had to come to terms with as well.
mm-hmm.
I think to this day it wasn't diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah. Yeah.
because I was so down,
Mm,
so down, like couldn't even explain it. And I'd experienced it once, like
mm,
during COVID,
mm-hmm.
and I vowed to myself that I would never feel that way. Like I'd never want to feel that way again. And two, and it's probably around the same level that I was feeling sort of about 6 months ago.
Yeah. And that's really inspiring that you use your like, I don't want to say rock bottom, but what felt like a really low
Mm-hmm.
point for you, like depression, and you use that to transform it
Mm-hmm.
into something good.
Yeah,
That's
because
courage.
I didn't want to be in that position anymore. I wanted to change because it
Yeah.
was just and I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't feel like I was going anywhere
Mm.
emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were saying, okay, it's not just about physical, it's not just about your mental health, but actually, what about your emotional health? And I never
Mm.
even considered that.
Mm-hmm.
Never considered that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of more like I was intrigued.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn more about it. I wanted to know what it was all about.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you
Yeah.
explain the process, oh, well, okay, let's do this week. I was like, okay, let's go. And I went for it.
Let's
Went
do
for it.
it.
No, let's do it.
Yeah.
Little bit of resistance, but that's that's how we're all built. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
resistance, but you know it's working when you've got that resistance as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
Like with anything, it's
Hmm.
like today I was trying. She made us do. I think she made us do a goddess squat today at yoga, and I was like, "This is painful." And she made us do it for so long. And we had a different yoga instructor today as well. So it's different from our usual yoga instruction. She doesn't normally make us do goddess squat for that long.
Hmm.
It was excruciating.
Yeah.
And but I knew the resistance was making me better.
Mm.
And it's the same thing with the process that we went
Yes.
through, was knowing that it was difficult. Yes, I was being a pain in the ass to myself, and I knew that what I was trying to do was to
Hmm.
try and change my way of thinking,
Yeah.
well, and change how my body reacts to things and how
Yeah.
my mind reacts to things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's an undoing of the ego, it's an undoing of all those things that we think are keeping us safe
Mm,
and saying, hey, we're going to try something different here. And I remember you and I, we had felt like quite a long conversation about the resistance
mm,
and about how that shows up for
mm.
you and for all of us, and how what we want is on the other side of that resistance. Like the freedom is on the other side. So it's amazing that you pushed through that. And I think my next question was going to be, is there anything that would have prevented you from committing? I know you've spoken a little bit about being a bit skeptical and yeah, not being too sure if it
I
was going to
think
work for
I
you.
think there was also, when you told me how much it would cost, I was like, whoa. But then I realized, I was like, do you know what? Let's let's break this down.
Mm.
And I think when I asked you, could I pay half? And you were like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, okay, let's go. And I had the money there. And I think we
Mm.
had a discussion about how much it would have cost to have therapy via like
Mm.
various websites, or and I think you explained that actually doing that for a year versus what we were doing intensely for 6 weeks
Mm.
was, you know, much better value.
Mm.
And it felt like you sort of explained it and sort of justified it, and I
Mm.
understood why it was like that, and now I really understand that actually it's definitely worth it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think I'm fortunate that I can afford it.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I can afford it. I can put aside the money for it,
Yeah.
and I can see the benefit of it as well now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was one thing. It was like the resistance to the whole thing, but then also whether it was going to be worth the investment as well.
Yeah. But it sounds like it was. Yeah. Without me putting words in your
Yeah,
mouth.
when it sunk in last week, when it all just pulled
Click.
together, I was like, yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And I guess just my final question is, what would you honestly say to someone who was thinking about joining the program?
I'd say keep an open mind.
Mm.
Um, don't let any, like, if something's holding you back, like, put it at the back of your head for now. Give it a go.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because you never know. Like, if you don't try, you'll never know. That's
Yeah.
that's with anything in life. Like, if you don't try, if you really feel that you can't get yourself out of whatever hole you're in,
Hmm.
I think for me it really sort of made a difference.
Mm.
So go for it. Keep an
Yeah.
open mind, go for it, try it. You never know.
Yeah.
And I would say try it, and you'll probably fall into it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank
Was
you. No, thank you so much. So much. You've taught me so many things
Mm.
about like emotions, and how it affects you. And it was having you on, like, practically on call
Mm.
and checking in, and then the fact that you were checking in sort of every couple of days, and I knew that I hadn't had and I was almost expecting you to message
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
And when you did message me, I was like, right, let's go. And then we were just having chats
Yeah.
and even just joking about things, and actually that really helps as well. I think the fact that we're so far away from each other as well,
Mm.
and for for someone to actually build a program and deliver it remotely
Mm,
and have that real effect on somebody is just incredible.
mm.
Um, I think I said to someone else, like, oh, what is this magic? It's magic. It's literally magic.
Yeah,
It's
it
crazy.
is.
It's crazy. I still can't believe it, but I'll believe it eventually.
Yeah. Your conscious mind and your
Yeah,
subconscious will do
yeah,
the
go,
leveling out.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap
I
up?
can't think of anything else. If you ask me more questions, I'll just answer them.
No.
That's what will happen.
No, I think we're all good if you're
Yeah,
all good.
yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining today. And yeah, we'll end it there.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.